All right. Shalom, shalom, people. On this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Thursday night. The date is, what is the date? The date is 6/24/21. Okay, and the time is 8:43-ish p.m. And what we're talking about is dealing with salvation and the biblical understanding of salvation from the ancient Israelite perspective, not from our modern day perspective. Not saying that it's different, but I'm saying from their perspective, maybe they viewed it a little differently than we did. So we're going to find out tonight. So first of all, I would like to say that salvation actually deals with saving. So I believe us all on the panel, we will all agree with that. What salvation is dealing with saving. But I want to get right into it, dealing with salvation and etc. So can someone read Genesis 49:1, I believe?
It says 49:1, right?
Yes, sir.
Then Jacob summoned his sons and said, "Assemble yourselves, that I may tell you what shall befall you in the days to come."
Okay, and then in the KJV and all of them, it says the latter days. So the days to come will be the pretty much the time of the end, when things were going to actually be consummated. The times be consummated. So, could you go to Genesis 49:10 and 11?
Genesis 49:10 and 11. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and to him shall be the obedience of the peoples. He ties his foal to the vine, and his donkey's colt to the choice vine. He washes his garments in wine, and his robes in the blood of grapes.
Okay, all right. So right there we see that there was a messianic promise, Messiah, a promise about the Messiah, and Jacob put that around the time of the end. That was going to happen during the time of the end. So now, can you read 49:18?
Genesis 49:18. For thy salvation I wait, O Lord.
So, this is what we have: salvation being brought up after it was prophesied that a Messiah was going to come. So this is talking about the same time period, the same era, prophesied that Messiah was going to come, and then in that same time period, we have Dan being prophesied about his actions, but we also see that they're going to be waiting on a salvation. Okay, so I'm just trying to build it up right now. So can we go to Isaiah 52 and start around verse 6 and read down to verse 10?
Isaiah 52, verse 6. Down to which verse?
Verse 10.
Verse 10. Isaiah 52, 6 to verse 10. Therefore my people shall know my name. Therefore in that day I am the one who is speaking. Here I am. How lovely on the mountains are the feet of him who brings good news, who announces peace and brings good news of happiness, who announces salvation and says to Zion, your God reigns. Listen, your watchmen lift up their voices, they shout joyfully together, for they will see with their own eyes when the Lord restores Zion. Break forth, shout joyfully together, you waste places of Jerusalem. For the Lord has comforted his people. He has redeemed Jerusalem. The Lord has bared his holy arm in the sight of all nations, that all the ends of the earth may see the salvation of our God.
All right, so before I even give my commentary on that, do we have anybody that want to explain what that sound like to them?
Sounds like redemption.
Yes, sir, redemption. But what's all going on during this redemption?
He's also the realization of God is being realized throughout the whole earth. Because it says, in sight of all the nations, that all the ends of the earth may see the salvation of our God.
Right, so you got them actually understanding his name, they understanding his authority, they understanding that he's reigning, and and Isaiah correlated this with the salvation that they were awaiting. So now, my question would be, what salvation do we think people are waiting on in the 21st century?
They're not waiting for the same salvation that the first century people were waiting on. See salvation in a different light, and that is not what the first century people saw their salvation or redemption would be.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. You want to elaborate a little more, or what?
I was gonna say something. Basically, I'm sorry. Somebody was saying something.
No. Go ahead.
I basically was gonna say it depends on how you view your question itself. Meaning that the average person these days have many different ways to view salvation in their head. You know, we have false doctrines that think that salvation means being saved from nuclear fallout, like literally, spaceship invasions, literally. Salvation means just putting another nation in subjection to them, and things of that nature, and they think that's being saved, or that's the route they'll be saved from their, just everyday life, everyday trials and tribulations here in the kingdom. But our modern day salvation is nothing like that. Of course, we have a different perspective here on it. But I think that's what the average person believes their salvation is in this day and time, with a scattered few that look forward to living in something that comes right out of a fairy tale type setting, sparkly and wings and things to that nature, that narrative that's been painted for so long. So I believe that's what the average individual believe is salvation, or attained from salvation, or the vehicle which drives salvation, those aspects, which we know is something totally different, because it's definitely not what was expected by the ancient Israelites, because they received their salvation exactly how they knew they was.
Alrighty, and in Isaiah 52 and 10, right, what the brother just read, according to Isaiah, right? And we're just going to just decipher, because the Israelites, they did a lot of double talking. What I like to say that we call that parallelism and etc. They will, in the same breath, they would say one statement one way, and then they will say the same point that they just made another way, but it's the same exact point. They're just saying it two different ways. We call it here double talking, but the scholars call it parallelism. So the prophets are known to speak in parallelism a lot. So in verse number 10, according to Isaiah, what was the salvation they were waiting on?
I believe it's that all the nations would recognize the one and true God.
Right, and I'm going to read. I'm going to read number 10 from the KJV. It says, "The Lord had made bare His holy arm in the eyes of all the nations, and all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our God." So, what was He calling salvation?
Is that a reference to judgment, bearing his holy arm?
See, and that right there, you're absolutely right of what the salvation is, right? But now that was the mystery sorter. This holy arm is the salvation. So we can all see that, right? The holy arm is the salvation.
Yes, sir.
But now we got to find out what this holy arm is. So that's what we're going to find out next.
I just want to take a quick time out to welcome David, Kelvin, and Ja to the chat.
Welcome.
Okay, and we're gonna bring you up on stage after this point is made. Then they'll bring you up on stage and let you ask your question or give the statement. Okay, so now when you go to Isaiah 49, and can someone start at Isaiah 49, start around verse 4, and read down to verse 6?
But I said, I have toiled in vain. I have spent my strength for nothing and vanity. Yet surely the justice due to me is with the Lord, and my reward with my God. And now says the Lord, who formed me from the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob back to him, in order that Israel might be gathered to him. For I am honored in the sight of the Lord, and my God is my strength. He says, it is too small a thing that you should be my servant, to raise up the tribes, Jacob, and to restore the preserved ones of Israel. I will also make you a light of the nations, so that my salvation may reach the end of the earth.
So now, you have right here in Isaiah, right? He explained that this servant was it's a small thing for him only to deal with Israel, but he's also is going to be a light to the Gentiles. And then when he gathers Israel and be a light to the Gentiles, then the salvation is known. In one, you have the salvation being the arm. And the second one, you have the salvation coming and gathering individuals, the Israelites, as well as the Gentiles, unto the Lord. So that arm has to be the servant. And we're going to dig more deeper into that scenario as time progresses.